Thank you so much for joining us today on Coffee With. We're at Highway 61 Coffee House on Washington Street, and my guest today is Miss LaKeisha Perkins. Ms. Perkins is a teacher, and I actually have been a volunteer in your classroom for, is this the 4th year? Can it really be that long?
The 4th year.
The 4th year. And tell me a little bit about when you decided to become a teacher. What was your motivation? What was the drive for you to become an elementary school teacher?
Actually, I think I've always known that teaching is what I want to do. I looked at teaching as being a noble profession, and I had so many teachers at home who influenced me because I was seeing them as just role models. And I thought teaching was something that was very important because education is important. And it was just something that was just instilled in me, and I wanted to be that same role model, that character who would share the love of education with other children.
And you teach kindergarten. I know you've taught kindergarten at least for 4 years.
Kindergarten for 4, first for 5, second for 4. Oh, it's been 12 years. It's kind of hard
Ms.
to remember.
Perkins, you don't look old enough to be a teacher that long.
It's been 12 years.
Well, here's what I know about you. I volunteer in your class usually once a week. I come out and read to the children, which you've heard me say a million times, it's the highlight of my week. And in the brief period that I'm in your classroom, it is so apparent to me that you have such a love for what you do, such a passion for teaching these children. And where does that come from? And how do you sustain it for 12 years? I had no idea you'd been a teacher for 12 years.
It grows on you. I knew that I always wanted to be a teacher. But as you get the little children coming into your room, it's like your very own. They grow on you, and from year to year, it's like you get attached to the children. And when they leave, it's like, oh, I'm attached to them, and you start a new one, and you get attached to them. But I mean, it comes from within. I love the children. I love teaching, and I love each and every child, and I know that they're all unique. And I try to teach the child. And when I say teach the child, I'm talking about be what I need to be for them. Not just the teacher, if that includes being the parent, the counselor, the nurse, doctor, all of that. I mean, it's just in me to just teach the children and to be that somebody that they feel comfortable with, that they can talk to. I try to communicate with the parents like that. There's an open communication with all of my parents. They know that from the beginning of the school year. Most of my parents have my home number. Some even have my cell number. I mean, I welcome them to call because I want them to feel free to just, call and talk to me. And I open it up at the beginning of the school year. I want them to know that if there's any concerns, I want them to contact me. I want them to come and sit in my class, see what's going on, join in the fun. Let me help them to be able to help their child, because sometimes some of the parents need just as much help as the children do.
That's true. That's really true. Mm-hmm. Over the course of the last 4 years as I've been coming into your classroom, I've learned a lot about you just in that 30 minutes a week that I spend out there. And last year we kind of had this thing going on where we were teaching the kids, I Believe I Can Fly.
Yes.
And that's when I discovered what a beautiful voice you have.
Oh, my.
And we had a lot of fun doing that last year.
Yes.
And we haven't done it this year, and I'm not really sure why.
We'll do it at the end.
We'll do that before the end of the school year and get them ready for first grade.
Yes.
Another thing that has become apparent to me, probably more so in this last semester of this year, is it seems to me like this year you have a broader range of skill level in your classroom.
And I do.
And even though I'm not an educator, I do look at that and I wonder how difficult that must be as a teacher to handle a top performer with other children who are struggling.
Well, that's one of those things that you have to key in on and find out where, the child is at. And there are different learning styles, different techniques and strategies that you can use that can help each individual child because of the broad level. I mean, because you have some who come in and they're already pretty much mastering the kindergarten skills. And there are some that may come in and not really have, many skills at all. So you have to kind of see where the child is at, find out where you need to start with them, and start where that child is at. And just find a way to key in on their strong points, the weaknesses, things that you can help them with. I want to be the help. That's why when I said I want them to feel comfortable, I want them to feel comfortable with me. And the joy that it is at the end of this school year, when you look, I can look at papers and I see the before and after. Or I can find a child who couldn't even spell his or her name in the beginning of the school year, reading, little simple sentences, the cat is fat, and doing those things. And it's just great joy. And the ones who are coming in and they have those skills, well, I just find a way to challenge them and to advance them. And I think a good thing for me is that I've been at a higher level. So I kind of know what it takes to get, to the next level from kindergarten to first grade, first to second. So I kind of try to push them and advance them and challenge them as much as I can. So it's all about having your groups and working in the small groups and your independent study and just keying in on the areas that you see you need to focus in on with each individual student.
The children obviously adore you. They listen to you. You have, I don't want to say they're very well disciplined in your classroom because it's not about discipline. It's just about them enjoying the process of learning.
We have fun together. We do.
Yeah. And you seem to have as much fun as they do.
I have fun, and sometimes I like to be like the little kids too. I'll start to sing and play and dance and do some of the things that do. I want learning to be fun. I want them to see it as something that's enjoyable and not like, oh, I don't want to come to school, or I don't want to do this. I want them to enjoy it, and I want them to know the importance of an education and how, what they learn now is going to impact their future. And so, I try to stress that, and the foundation, building that strong foundation is going to be what they would need, from first to second, second to third. So I try to give them that strong foundation and let them see just how important education is.
What percentage do you think of your students right now this year are reading? I mean, I can kind of see the ones that are reading, but you have 16 or 17 children.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those do you think are actually really have some reading skills?
We have pretty much just about the whole class are doing some simple reading. But now I really have about 5 who are extraordinary readers. They're in kindergarten and they're reading second grade level.
Yeah.
And I have a few who are reading on first grade level. And I have a few who are just where they need to be, and some who are just struggling, and kind of just doing the basics and trying to actually hear and put like 3-letter words together and the blending and segmenting and things of that nature. But we are really, really at the point where we focus on that a whole lot. We have little short decodable books that they're using pictures and little decodable words in, and we have a good many who have gone up in those, so we're working on it.
Well, not being an educator is interesting when I come in and we're reading, I don't know what grade level that book is I'm reading, maybe second grade or third?
No, second. But it's the interest and the enthusiasm. I mean, you just really, you give it to them in a way that they listen. The ones who you can tell when a child has been read to, because they take an interest in the story. Right. Even though some of the stories that you read didn't even have pictures, they take an interest because it's like what you give to them is some type of excitement and the enthusiasm from the way you're reading and presenting it to them is just extraordinary.
Well, and it's interesting for me, not being an educator, to come and sit and read a book that's probably second or third grade level, or maybe even higher. I'm not really sure what level that book is. And it's very, as you say, how many you have that are reading well and those that are struggling, I know who those children are. It's very easy to see based on their attention span, based on their recollection of the names of the animals, or if I call out the animals, what the animal's name is. And, there's one little girl that is just sitting there. She can't wait for the story to start. You remember last week I wanted to read from the Kindle. No, she was ready to hear what was going on with Dr. Doolittle. She was waiting to hear about Dr. Doolittle. And it's so much fun. It's I don't know how you do it all day, every day. It's remarkable to me what you do. And of course, I had no idea you've been doing it for 12 years, Ms. Perkins. No idea.
I have, plus with 2 at home, so it's a full-time teaching.
You do it all the time?
Yes, all the time.
All the time. Thank you so much for what you do.
Just thank you.
I realized in several discussions that Dr. Swinford and I had, the light bulb came on for me one day that children who don't learn to read well early in life are destined for not much success in life, sadly. And the other day when I was sitting there, and that one little girl that I was talking about, she was so enraptured by the story. And it's, you know, I sat there and looked at her and decided when I come out there every week, I'm reading to her.
Yes, she
and
is.
how very much something as simple as going into a classroom for 15 or 20 minutes a week may change somebody's life.
It just makes.
You
She
never
loves
know.
to read. I mean, she is one. I know exactly what you're talking about. She is one who she can listen to me read a story 3 or 4 times, and she still gets. There are questions. She gets something out of it. She comes back with more and more questions. Than I mean, you just love that.
Yeah.
You love that she, you know, pays attention, and you know she has those questions, and you know she asks about words and things that she doesn't know about. So she takes an interest in it. She really wants to know.
It makes you want to do better, doesn't
yes,
it?
it does.
When I come out there and
It
I
does.
see her like that, it makes me want to come out and be even more animated than I was before. I mean, I can see how it's their desire that drives you to do the best you can, because you're forming a life. You really are. You're spending more time with those children than their parents.
I am.
You absolutely
More time
are.
with them at school than they do
Thank
at
you
home.
so much for what you do. Mostly, I thank you for the opportunity to come into your classroom. I hope that maybe I'm changing somebody's life, but this I know for sure. I don't know whether I am or not, but I know that they have changed mine, and I thank you for the opportunity for that.
And thank you.
Thank you for coming and having coffee with me today.
Oh, thank you.